Hello, how you doing? Hey, Daryl, how are you? Very nice to be here today. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm Bill Schumann. I'm with HCC Healthcare and the programmer of the Active System. Okay, I don't know if anyone's heard about it, but we've been programming that since 1990. And I have been working in the trenches with you all since then, side by side with many dietary managers, in order to develop a computer system that will help you to do your jobs and serve your residents. Before we get started, we'll talk about the Culture Change webinar, which will go into much more detail about the use of the Active System to implement culture change. To attend that webinar, just send me an email to that email address, bill@activesystem.org, and I'll give you the instructions for signing on to the free webinar. Okay? But you do need a Google Plus account. That's a free account. Just install Google Chrome and sign up for the Google Plus account. Okay, the Active System and the WebNet. So what is a WebNet? Best way to describe it is ask a few questions. Is the Active System desktop-based? And the answer is yes. Is the Active System web-based? And the answer is also yes. Is it desktop-based and web-based at the same time? And the answer is yes. Is the Active System smartphone-based? And the answer to that is also yes. Is it smartphone-based, cell phone, web-based, and desktop-based all at the same time? And the answer is yes, and that's what the WebNet is all about. You operate your Active System on your desktop computer, and it automatically updates the web-based version, and vice versa. And the cell phone system is the same way. Okay? So yes, you can take the cell phone and walk down the hallway and input likes and dislikes, weights, and everything else. That's what the Active System is, and what it's about, and what the web-based system is about. Now, 2 or 3 years ago, we started hearing about culture change. My impression when I first heard about it was probably the same as yours. It's going to be very staff intensive. We're going to have to increase our staff if we're going to implement culture change. So I was fully expecting that reimbursement to the nursing homes would be ever increasing in order to prepare for implementing culture change. Now, has that happened? No, the exact opposite has happened. Reimbursement to nursing homes is decreasing, so therefore you would expect culture change to just kind of go away, similar to the 2005 pyramid. Y'all remember that? That was totally unrealistic for us to be giving our residents 5 vegetables a day and 4 or 5 fruits a day. We would be wasting a lot of food. Well, the 2005 pyramid just kind of faded into the background, and I was thinking maybe culture change would be the same way. Does that happen? No. We have interviews with residents, interviews with staff, that is all about assessing whether we are implementing culture change in our facilities. So we have a dilemma. We have a dilemma of requiring more staff, but less reimbursement. So that really kind of got me going in terms of how can the Active System help to implement culture change. And that's when we started developing. And it has blossomed into a full culture change program through the Active System. Now, I could say that you can implement culture change with the Active System without adding staff. But I would never suggest that to anybody. If anybody offers you more staff, take it. Okay? Now, can we stop the increasing in food costs? Well, there's too many other people increasing it on our behalf. So that's one of the things that's very disturbing is how quickly our food costs are rising. Okay, but in terms of the Active System and culture change, what are we dealing with? Well, those are the three things. Whatever, wherever, and whenever they want to eat. Now, some people ask with whomever they want to eat. But we all do a very good job of that already, don't we? We encourage family members to come anytime they want. So we're already covering that. But culture change is about whatever, wherever, and whenever. And I like that line underneath it. We conform to the individual needs of the resident rather than requiring them to conform to our operation. Okay? That's basically what culture change is all about. It's about changing our culture, the culture within our facilities, and how we deal with residents. When I became a consultant, it was mainly posting the dining room times, the meal times, and us adhering to those meal times. Surveyors came and they watched our meal service, when it started, when it stopped. They wanted to make sure that we adhered to our meal times. And we required our residents to adhere to those meal times also. But that all needs to change. What they want us to do is look at the individual needs of the resident and us meet those needs. So that's what we'll talk about today. How can the active system do this for you? And it's real amazing how the computer can help you to manage all of this. Because in essence, it's all logistics in terms of providing culture change. We start with the premise, and I think it's a very good premise, that we all care very much about our residents. And we are all currently doing everything that we possibly can. Everyone's maxed out in what they can do for their residents. Okay? So in order for culture change, we all know that we want to do it, but we simply don't have the time or resources to do it. Until now. This is what the active system will do for you. Okay, on the bottom there is the website for the active system, and that asys.me is how you access it from your cell phone. Once you get into the system through the asys.me, all screens are dedicated to being presented on your cell phone. Okay? Whatever. No, that's not, whatever. It's whatever they want. Whatever they want means a select menu. Now, how many people here have a select menu in their facility? Okay. So you know it's labor intensive. Why is it labor intensive? Because you have to distribute those menus, you got to help the residents select the menus, and you've got to collect them. And you have to do that for every single day of the menu, over and over again. Okay? So, it does give the residents a choice, but then can they ask for something else once you hand out those menus and get them back? Can they ask for something else? Select menus can handle that better than a non-select menu, but there's still some things that need to be addressed. But it's very labor intensive. Now this is where it all started, an online select menu. When we put this together, it seemed kind of crazy. How can we have our residents going online to select their menu? Well, we know that it's not the residents that really select the menu. It's their family members and it's the staff that help residents to select their menus. If we do it online, guess what? You don't have to keep on doing it every time that day of the menu comes around. The system saves those selections for the next time. So in other words, once you get everyone selected on their menus, guess what? There's no more work to be done. Also on the online, there's no distribution of menus and no collecting them. That's where the major labor comes in. Okay, so this is just one screen. If you scroll down to all the meals for that day, and then go to the next meal, and you click submit after checking what you want, and then you have the kitchen request screen also, which we'll cover. But this saves tons of time. Once you get them with their selections in, well, this is everything that it does for you. First of all, you can access it from your cell phone, which is a key benefit for family members. Everyone relates to their cell phone, so they can call up their selections on their cell phone and make them for their family members. The family members and the residents are empowered, and the system keeps working for you, and it's customizable for each resident. So look at that bottom thing, precise tallies in advance. Now, how many people on select menus collect them and have somebody tally them in order to give you a tally? Well, if you have them selecting their menus online, you have all those selections, which you reuse over and over again. Now, they can go back and change it at any time, but that will be included in the automatic tally that you get. And you get your tally anytime that you want it, namely before you place your order. Okay? Precise tallies in advance is a critical benefit for online select menus. Okay, let's look at wherever. Can we change dining locations on the fly? What do you have to do now to change the dining location? Well, first of all, you need to get it in before you print your tray cards. You go to your computer and you change it. You have to remember to do all that stuff. But what if changing select menus on the fly, that would mean anytime they change them, you get notification. So this is the traditional way. You use your admission program, you put it in. But on the menu selection page, I think that's the next screen here. Yes. At the bottom of each meal is a slot for your dining locations. Of course, you put in your dining locations however you want them. But if they're selecting their menu and they want their meal, that particular meal on that day is Mrs. Jones' birthday, and she wants to have her lunch in the conference room with her family, they can make that selection at the time, and it's in the system. Anytime a dining location is changed, you get a text message notification. Plus, it also goes to the kitchen request board, which we haven't explained yet, but that's a board in the kitchen that is direct communication to the kitchen. So in other words, anybody can change a dining location at any time, and you're notified. That's what I mean by changing locations on the fly. So that covers wherever they want to eat. Okay? They can request this particular breakfast they want in their room. All the others they want in the dining room. They can request late trays, early trays. Wherever they want to have their meal, they can have it, which is the way they operate at home, right? Sometimes they eat in front of the TV, sometimes they eat in the kitchen, sometimes they eat in the dining room, sometimes they eat in bed. That's the way it should be in our nursing homes also. Okay, any questions so far? So we covered whatever and wherever. Whenever they want to eat. Requesting early trays, late trays, second, and what's that fifth one? Hankering. Okay, so I got a hankering for something. So let's go through this scenario. You have Mr. Jones calling his mother in the nursing home. So she answers the phone and says, "Oh, hey Johnny, how are you doing?" And he says, "Oh, Mama, I'm just doing fine. How are you doing? You getting enough to eat?" And she says, "Oh yeah, lunch was delicious. But you know, I really would like to have some banana pudding right now." And so Johnny says, "Hold on, Mama." And he doesn't even hang up his cell phone. He just calls up the program that we've given him, and it's a kitchen service request. Now that's right, that's that kitchen request button off the select menu. Okay, there's the selection there. Now you have complete control over these, what's listed there. And he selects pudding, and then scrolls down a little bit and you got a blue box where you can write in anything, and he types in banana pudding. And clicks the submit button. And then he goes back to talking with Mama. You know, so they're talking. And while they're talking, this shows up in the kitchen. Now this is the kitchen request form. It is a tablet or a flat screen computer or whatever you have available mounted on the wall in the kitchen, connected to the internet. Okay? How much are tablets now? You can get one for about $99, right? Okay, so you got that mounted on the post or on the wall in the kitchen, just like a picture, and the pink box shows up. Okay, that's Ellie Mae Clampett. Now, you all know who she is, right? I have to check now. A lot of the young dietary managers don't even know what the Beverly Hillbillies is. Okay? And this what comes across. It says, well, we have one example, please send my breakfast late, but it says send pudding bananas. Okay? So the cook is there and sees that flash up there, and the cook prepares it, or the dietary prepares it, and right here in the bottom slot there, that's the drop-down list for standard responses. You press that, and then select the one you want, and they selected your request has been received and is on the way. Okay, now that's where you negotiate with nursing, right? Who's going to come get it, or who's going to deliver it? Now, what if you've decided that nursing's going to, again, then you select this one. Your request is ready for pickup, nursing notified. Now, on the nurse's station, they have their little tablet up underneath the counter there, leaning against the wall of the nurse's station, and the pink box turns green, and that indicates to nursing that they need to do something. So they look at that and they say, oh, we need to send somebody to go pick up this banana pudding that Mrs. Jones or Ms. Clampett has ordered. So they get the banana pudding, and there is Mr. Jones talking to his mother, and the banana pudding's delivered. Oh, Johnny, here's my banana pudding. You're so good to me, Johnny. Okay, so what's this doing? This is making the resident feel more loved. It's empowering the family members to make sure that their loved one is taken care of. And what has simply been done? Delivered some banana pudding. Now ask yourself, what has to be done now for this to happen? Okay? The resident, the person, Johnny on the phone can't ask the CNA. The resident will have to turn to the CNA. The CNA will have to go to the nurse's station, ask permission. They would have to call the kitchen. Somebody has to answer the phone in the kitchen. And then they have to prepare it, and somebody has to call the nurse's station. Someone has to answer the phone in the nurse's station. And all of this needs to be done in order for this to happen. So what's really happening in our nursing homes is, I submit that most of our residents simply don't want to be a bother. So they won't go through this. They won't do it. They won't ask for anything. They don't want to be a bother. They're not going to be a bother. If they do, they've done it one time and there is just a lot of commotion that happens because of it, so they won't do it again. Now, I know we do have some residents that don't mind being bothered at all, but most of them simply don't want to be a bother, so they don't get the things that they would have gotten if they were at home. And that's really the crux of culture change. And I also think that we're going to be held responsible for this eventually, because that's what the resident interviews are all about. They want to know if the residents feel comfortable enough to ask and receive whatever they want, whatever they need. And that's what this kitchen request board is doing for you. It's streamlining everything. We cut out all of the phone calls, and we have a direct line of communication to the cook in the kitchen, between everybody. Does anybody foresee any problems with that? Yeah.
Do you have to upgrade your equipment every so often? What about lag time?
Lag time?
Yeah. I mean, there must be bugs. You must have problems with it. Computers go down.
Well, yeah, the internet goes down. This is internet-based. It does require the internet. But let me tell you, from the very beginning, from 1990 when I started programming, I programmed from the ground up. I don't use any canned packages to make canned packages to make. All of that requires resources, and I'm talking about resources within your computer, a lot of memory, a lot of disk space, a lot of processing. No, I programmed from scratch to minimize the resources that are needed. So in other words, you don't need upgrades to run the stuff on the active system. It is grassroots right there at the core, programming what's needed with the minimum amount of computer resources needed. So in other words, no you don't, but you do need to get connected to the internet.
Right, but you set up big to accommodate it prior to, you started with a large base of memory, etc. Intranet.
The active system will run on Windows 95. It started with DOS-based. Anybody here remember DOS?
Yeah.
That's where it all started.
When the time changes every year, fall ahead, spring ahead, fall back, does that lock out your whole system?
No.
Oh.
I don't see a reason why.
Well, we worked at Indian River Medical Center, and they have GemServe. And
every time that happens?
Like this, and every year, we'd all be on edge. Because the whole thing would crash.
Yeah.
We run a defrag.
Yeah, no, all this stuff is, it does need an internet connection in order to run the board, but that is what the WebNet is all about. It's all about how to never go down, okay? So if you're operating the active system, you're operating on your desktop, and the internet goes down, well, so what? You know, I'm still printing, I'm still...
Does this one have work by phone? Like in a hospital, it would have worked by phone, the patients would call into a...
Does it work by phone?
We're in a hospital setting, so it's a little bit different than a
nursing home setting. I'm not sure what you mean by what you're talking about. If the electricity goes out, your phone goes out, and everything else goes out?
No, it's just that our patients have to call down to call the call center, place their meals, there's no, I guess if they had a cell phone of their own,